Okay, now we've got everything lined out. We're going to inject a standard and show what the process is for building a calibration. Make sure I got the air bubble out of here. Come into here. Again, make sure this is set on 50. Make sure the injection valve is rotated toward us. Carefully fill the loop. Stopping before we get to the end. Come over to here. Simultaneously hit start and inject. And down about 0, you see the chromatogram start to come out. Okay, we're going to let this come out for about 11 minutes and we'll come back to you and show you what the chromatogram looks like and how to process the data. Okay, now we're collecting a chromatogram. We decided to come back to you and let you watch the last peak come out. What we're seeing, this is a solvent front here. This is just a solvent. It blows straight through the column. The first peak of interest is right here. This is cannabidiol. And this peak that's coming out now is THC. We'll let it come down and we will integrate it in just a moment. The qualitative information, what the components are called that because the time that they're retained. It's called retention time. On the x-axis we have time. On the y-axis we have the amplitude of the peak, the amount of light that they absorb. So what it is determined by when it comes out. How much it is by the area under the curve. So we're going to stop this in a little while, about another 30 seconds or so. And then we're going to go to another place in the software and measure the area under those curves. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this. I'm going to go into here and save it and Documents, C-Vue Data. And I'm going to call this Test. We'll just call this Test 2 since I think there's a Test 1 in there already. So now we have integrated it. Now we're going to come up here to Analyze. We're going to come over to the Manila folder at the top left. We're going to open up raw data. We will always be opening raw data. We're going to come back to Documents where we just were. Go into C-Vue Data and come down here, scroll down to Test 2. There it is. I'm going to highlight that and say OK. Then we will open it. We're going to come over and change these axes back to what they were on the previous. The software automatically scales to the largest peak, which is this solvent thing at the front, which is not of any importance. So we're going to change from -1 to 5. Well, the bottom one didn't change, so let me try it again. -1 to 5. Now we have a nice big peak for CBD here and THC here. So I'm going to select Manual, M-A-N-U icon. We get a little message about how to do the measurement. I'll let you read that. Left click to select Start and End locations, and right click to plot to end. Okay, so I'm going to click that. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to select with a little plus sign, with the little horizontal part just tangent and just underneath the baseline, just before the peak starts up. I'm going to left click. Come out here about the place that I think the peak ends, doing the same process with the horizontal member being tangent to the baseline. Left click. Come out here to THC, and right there where it's about to start, left click. And out here where it ends, we will also left click. Now I right click, and it changes back to the original scaling. So I'll go back to what we just selected of -1 and 5. Not 52, but 5. And we can see how we integrated them. And That looks to me like we pretty well captured the area of this peak and the area of that peak. So now I'm going to come down to name and cal. We're just going to name this. The first peak is CBD. Go up to the little drop down menu with peak number and get peak number 2. And we're going to call it THC. And since this is a standard, we are done. So we're going to quit here. So we come down to the bottom and we analyze. It asks if this is correct. We're going to say no. And we're going to go back over and change these. That was left in there from a previous analysis. We'll change this to 1. This to 1. 1. And 1. And go back to analyze. And now we'll come back down here to analyze and we'll say it is correct. So now we get the area, we get the peak number, the name is CBD, retention time is this time right in here. The time that the peak comes out is 3.52 something and the area is 1.99. For THC, the retention time is 7.62 minutes and the area is 0.25. So we're now finished with that. So I'm going to go over here now and I'm going to go and clear this data. This is what we would do in the process of building a calibration. We're going to give it a name. This we're going to be for the calibration of CBD. The units are always in milligrams per gram. We're going to use area as a part of the peak we're going to, the attribute of the peak we're going to use to measure. We're going to come down here. I'm going to read the amount off the bottle. The CBD amount is 0.028289, 0.028289, and again that is in milligrams per gram. And the area and the height is 1.99 something. I don't remember the rest of it, but we'll put that in there and we'll say analyze. Okay, that puts 1 point on there. Now to build a calibration you need at least 5 points. So we would repeat this process with the rest of the standards, but I won't subject that to you to that at this point. So that is the way you build a calibration. Now as I indicated earlier, we're going to look at the CBD calibration we did on the 12th. CBD on the 12th. We record the gain of 100 and the light level of -99 with the calibration. So when we're going to collect information on an unknown, we would set the gain to 100 and the light level to -99 and we would use that calibration. That's what a calibration looks like. We injected each standard 2 times and got pretty good reproducibility. So that's the process of calibrating.